So this is a safe space, right? Like I can be real with you guys. You won't judge me for my we'll call them doubts. Down the stretch there, I was sweating it out. I wasn't feeling good about what that outcome was going to look like. I'll be real. I posted up the live stream and I said just reacting to Nebraska versus Cincinnati. And I had two different titles in my head. One more negative because I expected a negative outcome like I've seen in the past. And one more positive, which we ended up going with tonight. Thank freaking God they got it done. I would have lost my shit if they couldn't hang on and win a game they were supposed to win. I would have lost my shit if they couldn't get over the hump that we've been waiting for them to climb on top of so freaking long. All that matters is they got a dub, right? I don't care that it wasn't the prettiest. I don't care that it was a close one with Cincinnati and their quarterback only threw for 50 yards. I just am so damn happy they finally figured out a way to win when it looked dark for them, right? 2 minutes left, Cincinnati driving. It's probably going to go to overtime. And it didn't feel like Nebraska had the momentum at that point. Let's just be real. It felt like the momentum shifted. The offense couldn't get it going at the end. And then Cincinnati's quarterback just put the whole team on his back. He started driving down the field, whatever it took. Malcolm freaking Hartzog. I don't care how short he is, how many mistakes he makes. I hear all kinds of shit have in the past. Tonight, the dude came through. He finished the game, and he did it in the most glorious way. It wasn't an expected interception. It wasn't like you looked at that ball and said, oh, this DB's got that. It's easy one-on-one. He's in front of it, and he's going to get great hand placement, take away the ball. No, he got in front of it. He secured it in a position that I did not think he would. When I saw him get it, I thought that's going to be batted. It's going to go down to the ground, and then we're going to have to see them kick a field goal. Thank God Hartzog had the ball skills and the awareness to come down with that and win the game. Hartzog won the game, let's be real, because Nebraska's offense couldn't get it done at the end. I feel so overwhelmed with joy inside because this conversation could have gone a very different way. And you know what it would have sounded like. I'm so glad we don't have to go there. It's a celebration tonight. Whatever it takes to win, you got to get it done. There are other teams around the country who played just as bad as Nebraska today, so I don't care. This is what a first game's supposed to look like. It's a little bit sloppy. It took time to get it going. You learned who you had. Man, Nebraska's got some guys. Those transfer dudes are some studs, right? Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter. The receiving core is legit. Dylan looks solid. The offensive line had push. At times, there were times Cincinnati's O-line beat them. The defensive line, they got their work to do, but we saw some good plays out of them. The point in this is, there were positives, there were negatives. It wasn't going to be perfect, and I didn't expect it to be. I just wanted to win, and thank God we got one. So welcome to the stream, guys. My name is Connor, and I'm a very happy and optimistic Nebraska fan, especially tonight. The scene was great. The stadium was covered in red. I love that Cincinnati tried to troll and bring out their red uniforms. I love that Taylor Swift was there so she could put the rest of the Big Ten on notice that Nebraska is the team to watch this year. I love that you had the broadcasters talking about how much hype you had going into the season with Dylan and with Nebraska and how they were supposed to be good this season, and Nebraska finally didn't get jinxed by some guys talking positively about them. They fought through all the nonsense and they came up with a 3-point victory. I'll tell you what, how would you have felt? I'm just curious, chat, if that went to OT. Do you think Nebraska would have been able to tough it out and win a game? Either way, a close game, whether it was OT or whether it was in the fourth quarter. I feel like this team has what it takes now. They're not going to win every close game, obviously. That's just never going to happen. Some teams are going to lose those. But it feels like they're in a better spot to do so now, especially after watching them get one done. I've got some thoughts. Definitely plenty to talk about. I'm going to answer a chat real quick. Brad, thanks for being a member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He says 2 turnovers to none. That and a long field goal was the difference. We got the dub, GBR. I think that field goal was about 52 yards. Cunanan hit 2 early on. And I'll tell you what, I was pretty surprised. I'm sure you were as well. When you see your kicker, a kicker who you don't know much about, a kicker who came in and won the starting job over 2 guys who've been there, come onto the field and knock down a 52-yarder, essentially on the road in his white jerseys, it makes you feel pretty confident about what's going to come out for the rest of the season. He then followed up with another one later in the second quarter, and it was magical that he was able to hit back-to-back field goals. I feel good about it. Brad, I'm glad you're confident in them too. Let's rock. Dylan, thank you for being Thank you for the $5 super chat. Finally caught that 3 we've been chasing. D-line was rough. Where do we go from here with them? Needed that win, though, GBR, you know? I don't know what the situation is, right? You're going to have to deal with what you got. But you had moments of greatness. And if they had 4 guys on the inside, they were doing a lot of stunting, right? And they were trying to bring pressure at times. They were bringing guys around. Like, I saw Desan McCullough a lot go from the outside to the in, and Williams-Nwaneri got pressure a couple times. So there are positives. There are things you can look to. It was a learning lesson, and they're going to take that film and try to figure out how to make this D-line, rework this D-line to be more effective going forward. I think the toughest thing for me to watch was Brendan Sorsby running all up and down on him. Let's see what he finished with. He went 13 carries, 96 yards. He had a long of 29. So, yeah, Nebraska's had struggles with running quarterbacks in the past, and it happened again tonight, but they made him one-dimensional. He was 13 of 25, less than 15% for 50% for 69 yards and an interception. I mean, that is the type of performance a QB cannot expect to win a game with, right? So if Nebraska can hold quarterbacks to less than 100 yards passing, I would feel good about their odds in the future. But yeah, gotta tighten up on the QB run, I'll tell you that. Guys, I'm freaking excited. I'm glad that I don't have to go to sleep tonight with an alternate ending. And I think you guys are all on the same page as well. Let me get back up to the chat. Ryu, thank you for the $5 super chat. Holy cow, close win for Nebraska. You know, I saw that shirt. I mean, you guys all saw the shirt. We almost always almost win. And then I think it was Mark Rogers at the end said, now you can say Nebraska wins. Yeah, it doesn't matter that it's a close win. It matters that it's a win. And Nebraska feels pretty damn good about getting a win, especially when they're going to play against a bunch of really good teams going into the Big Ten. You know, they're going to have 2 games coming up, Akron and Houston Christian, where we're going to have to expect them to win by 2+ touchdowns. No question, where those are some red flags. But week in, week out, this is what we expect to see. And this is that learning moment for the team to say, okay, we got over the hump. We can do it. We can fight against the odds when it looks like the momentum's on the other team's side, and we can still pull one out in a miraculous fashion. So I don't want to hear, man, we suck. I see that in the chat. Matthew, chill. We don't suck. We're learning. We're learning what the team is. We're learning how to use them properly. These coaches are going to take all that film, they're going to dissect it, and they're going to come back with a better game plan for next week. I promise you that. It's week 1. It's the very first time you're seeing a bunch of these players together. Think about how many transfers and new guys played tonight. Like 8 or 9, a lot of new faces on the field. And it's not supposed to be perfect. Hopefully by the end of the season it will be, but it takes time to get there. Max on campus, thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, very ugly W, but a W nonetheless. Facts. Lots of improvements need to be made. Grateful that we got this dub. And that's it. It's about improving. It's about figuring out how to get better. And thank God Nebraska got the dub. Hey, thank you for the $20 super chat. I appreciate the support a ton. Ardwin says he's still in the stadium. It's roaring. I'll tell you what, a lot of us are sitting here watching it at home, which is more of a stressful experience. You're dissecting everything. You're watching other games on your ESPN app, and you're seeing what's going on around the country. And you're like, man, Nebraska needs to look a lot better than they are. But if you were there in person at that game, I'm sure with the players, the team down there, watching them celebrate, feeling the families and the fans around you, and how good it is to, you know, really embrace what we just witnessed, which is a dub. Doesn't matter if it was 3 points. It was a dub, period. You have a different feeling than you're feeling right now sitting at home. I promise you. I've been in that environment before, and the players and the team and the fans who are there all realize that this is a really good win. So chat, I know we got some negative things to say, but let's be optimistic. You know what I'm saying? It's a time to celebrate, not a time to rain on the parade. We'll have negative comments. I promise you. We'll have some tweaks. We'll talk about it. Patrick, thanks for being a member. And thank you for the $20 super chat. I appreciate the support. I don't see a comment from you here, but if I do see one pop up, I will respond to it. Tighten Up says Dylan didn't look comfortable. Dylan didn't look comfortable at times, but for the most part, I thought he looked pretty confident in the pocket. And he had a lot of pressure, you know. The offensive line was working some things out. That was a good defensive line he went against. Obviously, Cincinnati came and brought their best, knowing what type of quarterback Dylan is, what style of offense Nebraska would want to run. And Dylan still had a really successful day. So I don't have any negative complaints about him, I'll tell you that. Corey, thank you for the $5 super chat. It didn't feel like before, though. This is the first time in 8 years I saw an entire sideline pick each other up. I didn't see any here we go again. And again, that's what Matt Rule's been talking about. The vibe has changed. You got to protect the culture. You got to protect what they're teaching. And now the team has finally bought in so deep to it. They're all going to make sure they keep their heads up, they keep the belief, and they find ways to get it done. That's what happened tonight. Yeah, we're excited. Lad says most overhyped team in the country. Hey, Lad, it's game one. Like I said, there's going to be a lot to learn from this week, and Nebraska could end up going to a playoff still. Nebraska could be a 10-11 win team. Today does not mean they can't. So the overhype, I think we're a little bit too early to be stating that, if I'm being honest. Ardwin, thanks for being a member for 34 months. Stadium is still roaring. We are so back. See, that's what I'm talking about. They're still loving that stadium. The fans who are there know what it feels like to struggle through losses, to go home with beer in your belly, a hot dog, feeling like, damn, I really just spent this whole night spending money, burning time to watch my team lose. This is a time to appreciate what we got, which is a dub. Hucking Fuskers, thank you for the $5 super chat. Do you think offense sucked because we were reserving play schemes for conference ball? Absolutely not. They did what they had to do today to get the dub. They were not reserving anything. I think the offense looked good at times. I mean, the word sucked is so heavy here. Emmett Johnson ran for 108 yards. Let me just pull this up and share this with you. Thank you for the $5 super chat if I didn't say it the first time. So Dylan, 33 of 42 for 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. That's massive. He did have a fumble, but he got it back. His own fumble. He recovered it. Emmett Johnson, 25 carries, 108 yards. They were hard yards he came by too. And the offensive line helped him in the second quarter at least get a lot of those. Crazy when you look at the splits from everybody else. 4, 4, 0, -1, -2. I mean, Emmett put the rush game on his back today. Nebraska receivers, electric, 6 catches for Key, 6 catches for Hunter, 2 guys who we know got paid to come, 2 guys who got recruited over, or who were recruited over from big schools. I mean, Kentucky, Cal, Nebraska got real guys who can carry this receiving room and really lead it with Ja'Cory Barney. And tonight they proved they could. You've seen a lot of other players come to the program, not show up, not do what they were supposed to do. And you know, ultimately it led to Nebraska being an average to mediocre team. These are guys who I 100% believe could lead a top 15 Nebraska attack. 100%. You saw Isaiah Hunter with a great catch in the end zone. He tiptoed the line, everything. You saw Dane Key with multiple catches where he got wide open, right? He figured out a way to get some separation. Dylan found him. Luke Lindenmeyer out of freaking nowhere. Let's rock Luke. Former walk-on tight end, 19-yard catch, kept his balance. I mean, we knew Luke was going to be a good tight end. We didn't know how much usage he was going to get, but tonight, man, Luke was on fire. Anyway, my point in saying all this is the offense wasn't the issue tonight. The offense looked good. Now, there were times where they stalled out. They're 100%, they're going to have to get better. They got jammed up at the goal line. I don't know if that was the entire offense's fault. We're going to blame one player for a false start, but it is what it is. I felt bad for that dude when it happened because we heard that it could potentially happen. If Nebraska would have converted on that, what was it, 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, whatever it was that drove them back on the false start penalty and made them settle for a field goal, this would have been an entirely different game. That would have been a 4-point swing instead of a 3 at the end. So a little less stress. But all that said, the offense did enough. The defense did enough. I mean, it was just a sloppy first game at the end of the day. Husker Chuck says our crowd caused 3 false starts. Well, I hope that's true. I wasn't even paying attention, to be honest with you. I was more stressed out about some other things. It's hard to hear through the TV if it's the crowd's fault, if it's the players screwing up, you know. But if it was the crowd doing it, hell yeah, let's go. Crowd did show up, though. I mean, they were looking really good tonight. They were all out, full display. If I missed any super chats, I apologize. I'm coming back up to them. But let me know if you super chatted in the comments and I'll respond to your comment. Colby, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, what's up, Connor? Glad we won. Left a lot on the table. That's a fact. He says, regardless, great win to kickstart the season, GBR. Hey, Colby, I like the optimism. It's true. They did leave things on the table like I had just talked about. But it's expected in a first game. It is what it is. Nebraska Edits, thank you for the $5 super chat. D-line needs to be better. Don't know how they'll do in the Big Ten. That's the biggest question right now. How the hell is the defensive line going to hold up when they go against better O-lines? But again, it's week 1. They're going to figure out ways to rework that unit and make the defense operate or function a little bit better. So I'm still excited and looking forward to what the D can do. You know, the strength is obviously in the secondary, the linebackers. They play with jitters early on and they miss some tackles, but hey, they're going to get it tight. They were out of position a few times too. The linebackers weren't getting to Sorsby, and I think that's been Nebraska's struggle the last 2-3 years when they couldn't deal with a running quarterback well, is what it is. Caleb says, how about Archie pinning them inside the 10-yard line twice? Yeah, Archie came out and he looked good. He held on to that ball, made sure he did his little rugby style kick, and it definitely threw Cincy off. Saray, thank you for being a member for 3 months. She says, who would have thought special teams wins a game? Who would have thought special teams is something we can rely on? Special teams came through at the end, or in the beginning, and at the end with the punts. So yeah, I'm feeling good about the special teams unit in general. Hopefully they can get a returner, man. I'd love to see a kick run back or a punt run back and have one pop. That's the next step. But punting did look good. Field goal kicking looked good. I just want to see it be completed. Ike, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Love the win. Not drinking the Kool-Aid this year. 8 wins this year, and that won't be bad. Hey, look, I totally understand after tonight feeling like 8 wins is probably the expectation. I wouldn't get down on this team, though. It's still early. I think there's a lot to look forward to, and there were a lot of positive takeaways. This is game 1. You have to realize how much is going to happen in the next 3 weeks before they play Michigan. They're going to learn a lot from this game that they're going to apply to the next 2, and hopefully that means this team's going to look like a top 25 unit when they play in Memorial Stadium in a home situation. This wasn't a home game. Remember, they were on the road technically. They're out of sorts in some way. So, look, let's just hold our horses on predictions, okay? Right now, we're going week to week. We'll say that. Husker Nation, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a member and for the $10 super chat. He says, glad we got the dub, but I can't help but be disappointed, honestly, by our performance. Look, I was sick. I sat on the couch tonight watching this game, and I was sick to my freaking stomach thinking about the struggle it would be for me to get through a live stream, another season, talking about a game we should have won. And it was so disappointing and it was disheartening because I was like, man, I've waited, how many months has it been? 6, 7 months, thinking this team would be the team who could break through, and now we're going to lose. But they didn't. And that's the point here. It was disappointing in the moment, but there was an ending that was so positive and so uplifting, it changed the feelings of the entire night. Yes, it was a hard-fought one. Yes, there were some issues that we had to witness. Yes, it was painful to get there. But they got there, and that's the point. They got there, and you shouldn't feel disappointed when they found a way to win. The whole point of this is to find a way to win. The whole point is to chase 3. The whole point is to get over the nonsense that has plagued this team for 3 years, 4 years now. They couldn't win the close games, and Matt Rule set out on a mission to say, we need to find ways to get it done, and they did. Celebrate that, James. Celebrate the fact that Nebraska found a way when they haven't in the past. That shows growth. Phil, same thing. He says, not impressed in honesty. Look, it's struggling. Or it is a struggle, sorry. It's a struggle to win week in and week out. Enjoy the dubs while you get them. Because not every week is going to be a dub. I mean, we hope they are, but not every week's going to. So if you complain about the close wins and you complain about the losses, what's the point of watching, right? It's a struggle week in, week out. Just recognize that. Celebrate when you can, because you don't always get to. Noah, thank you for the $5 super chat. It's been a long time since the end of a game will cause me issues sleeping, but for a good reason. Oh my God, the adrenaline. Man, my heart was racing. I felt like I was at a crap stable in Vegas. I'll tell you that. I was sweating the entire time. Keep in mind, I had money on this game, so I had money on everything, okay? I was on Prize Picks. I was on Bro Throw. I was on some money lines. I had everything, okay? I ended up a little bit negative. Actually, I probably broke even with my props because an Isaiah Hunter, Dane Key came through for me, a Dylan rushing prop. It all came through at the end, probably evened out. But yeah, it was adrenaline. It was fun. I'm just glad we got action, man. That was a good and an exciting game. And we got to see everything. You got to see productive offense. You got to see solid defense. You got to see weaker defense. You got to see a running QB. I mean, that was a full package. I feel like I got what I paid for. Jonathan, thank you for the $5 super chat. Wasn't the win we wanted, but the win we needed. That's the quote of the night. Thank you, Jonathan. It proves we can win one-score games, GBR. God, that was so perfect. Your timing, Jonathan. I needed that. Thank you. Jake, thank you for the $5 super chat. Glad to squeak one out. Where to stand on Michigan/Michigan State? Do you think we can work out the bugs? Are you nervous? I'm not nervous yet. There's nothing to be nervous about. This team came out and performed in the exact way I expected them to. They had some ups, they had some downs, but at the end of the day, they found a way to get it done. And that's what I expected. I couldn't predict the entire thing, right? I think my pregame prediction was 31-21 or 30-21, something like that. And I expected them to be able to Cincinnati to be able to keep up with Nebraska, right? This is a game that was a 6.5-point spread. Vegas said it was going to be a one-score game. So I thought, man, Cincinnati, even though last year they struggled, they're going to come out here and they're going to play it like it's their Super Bowl, which they did. So, yeah, I don't know what it's really far out. I don't know what the outlook is on specific games or on what Nebraska's ceiling is, but I'm not nervous yet, right? There wasn't anything today to tell me, this team can't compete in the Big Ten or this team can't win games down the stretch. No, this is a good start. There's kinks to work out, but I promise you every other team in the nation has that. Go look at number 25 Boise State, who just got their ass handed to them by USF, okay? South Florida took it to Boise today. They're clearly carried by Ashton Genty. But go look at some of these other games. They were tight. This is week 1. This is what it goes. This is what it looks like. Look at Iowa State and Kansas State last week. My God, they both look like shit. Early season jitters. Ardwin, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. The stadium exploded when Hartzog intercepted it right after the penalty call. Talk about freaking redemption for Hartzog, right, Ardwin? That was awesome. Man, I'm so happy for that dude. Hartzog seems like the nicest guy. You know, people who've told me about him say he's really cool, humble. He just seems like a good dude. And he's been in Nebraska for so long. I'm just happy to see guys like him win. Him, Marquise Buford, dudes who've been in the program for what feels like forever and who've contributed so much. Multi-year starters, guys who've played a lot of games, guys who've got shit on by fans, you know? I like to see them get it done. Not just for us, but for them. You know what I mean? Like selfishly, like I like that he won that game for him. Hartzog gets to sleep good tonight. Dr. J, thank you for the $5 super chat. We have time to grow if we're going to beat Michigan. Great win though. GBR, we can win the close game. That's what it takes, man. That's what's going to take against teams like Michigan. How do you find a way to win at the end? Today they found a way against Michigan. Are they going to find a way? It's way too early to tell because we don't know what that situation is going to be. But man, we'll win a close game and I feel good. Jacob, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hartzog is the most bipolar player ever. Holy shit. Honestly, I'm glad we had a game like this week 1. The team will iron out the kinks. Man, he is bipolar in terms of consistency. Sometimes he's better on certain days. But at the end of it all, it feels like every time Hartzog has a mess up, he comes back and has a good play right after. That's very frequent. So I'm pretty confident about Hartzog going forward. I've always liked him as a player. And yeah, anybody saying otherwise, I mean, come on. Let's be real. These guys have been studs, and I'm not too worried about what the outlook is for the DBs or any guy who's messed up in the past. Brett, thank you for the $10 super chat. Any thoughts on why we didn't pass the ball downfield at all? Did we throw one past 10 yards? Dylan's long pass was, I don't know how long, 24 yards. He had a 24-yarder or something like that, I think, to Isaiah Hunter. Maybe it was like 20 through the air. He had one to Dane Key that was like 10 yards downfield, I think. They couldn't get anything deeper because the secondary for Cincinnati was on top of it, right? They played that game really well, and they knew Nebraska wanted to throw it downfield. Their biggest concern was Dylan taking over the game with these new receivers. So Cincinnati came out prepared, you know. They did what they had to do. EK, thank you for being a member for 15 months, saving our best players for U of M, GBR. Hey, I hope that's what's going on. Nebraska's saving their best plays for them, not players, plays, sorry. Rod, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the 24-26. I appreciate you. He says, squeaky. Let's get a few more days under the belt. Tackling. And shout out to Archie. He's a keeper. You know, speaking of tackling, I got one player in mind who I really appreciated down the stretch. Andrew Marshall, the corner. He was up on that 6'5" receiver. 6'5" guy catches the ball. He's one-on-one with Marshall. Marshall's a smaller dude. I think he's probably like 6 foot. The 6'5" receiver gets taken down immediately. Then you flip the field. Marshall was on the tight end, Joe Royer. One situation again, takes Royer down. Obviously, that was the drive where Cincinnati scored a touchdown. But still, the fact that he was able to tackle and show some promise made me feel good about the DBs being able to tackle. So there are some issues with tackling today, or there were some issues with tackling today, but you know, things are going to get cleaned up. Nick, thanks for being a member. It looks like you've been a member for the Corn Craze Army for a while now. You got the gold corn. I like that. Let me see here. I'm trying to get to all the super chats, guys. My chat freezes up. There's so many coming in. Thank you guys for being here again. I really like celebrating wins with you if you didn't know it. By the way, we got over 1,000 people in the stream. Hit the like button if you haven't yet. It helps support our show so more people can see it. Todd, thank you for the $20 super chat. I will never understand trying to run it on kickoffs late in the game. Take it to the 25 and get going. Wasn't twice we got stopped before the 20. Take the 25-yard line late in the game. Hey, the special teams unit wants to be aggressive, Todd. they want to find ways to get into the end zone, right? They want to find ways to get good field position. That's been one of Nebraska's deficiencies in the past. So they're trying to find a way to get it done. You got to take your shots. It's going to cost you 5 yards. It is what it is. I understand Eckler's approach. And when you've got the athletes Nebraska does, the speed they do back there returning it, I think that it's best they take their shots. Eventually, they're going to break one free, and that could completely change the game. I'd rather them take the risk on a 5-yard difference in exchange for that touchdown, right? So I get what your point is. Want to be conservative in some way, but they're trying to win right now. They're doing what it takes to win the close game, and sometimes that's what it takes. You got to take your shots. Hey, man, real quick before I answer another super chat, today our sponsor is Cranium. You guys know about this brand because they're sponsored on other Nebraska shows. So this is a lower caffeine energy drink designed for mental clarity with nearly 2 grams of nootropics. So it's low caffeine, right? So something I can actually drink right now at 10 o'clock at night. It was created by 2 diehard Nebraska fans. It's got 0 dyes, 0 sugar. It's available in Nebraska at Hy-Vee, Rexius Nutrition, Elite Nutrition, Nudon, and other retailers. So you can check out the website, drinkcranium.com. Use the code CornCraze for 10% off. And I put the link right below for you guys. But anybody who wants to support our show, I always make sure I show love to them. And Cranium's one of the brands who does support our show. So cheers. For a guy who rarely drinks energy drinks, this is one I can get down with, just letting you know. But continuing on with the super chats, and thank you, Cranium, for supporting us. Evanception, thanks for being a member. Thanks for the $5 super chat. He says, bottom line is we would lose this game last season. Last season, the season before, many seasons to be remembered. When you look at Nebraska in these close games, my God. They don't get it done usually. They would usually let a Sorsby run it down their throat, stomp on their hearts, and then send Nebraska fans home upset and pissed off. If you go, I mean, just do this as a fun exercise. Go and watch my videos of the past. Go and watch the videos where I react to Nebraska losses. And nearly every single one is me losing my shit about a close loss. 3 points, 7 points, 6 points. They had it. They were the better team. You guys know the drill. You've been here for years with me. You know how it went. Cannot be upset's the key word. I like that. 2 cupcake teams, things to be cleaned up before the real season begins. GBR. I like ending with a little GBR there. Give me a little bit of optimism, Evan. Okay, I'm going through. Hang on. I got to click. Patrick says he never doubted we would win. Look, Patrick, at least somebody here felt that way. Rob says fans won the game. Is that true, Rob? Was it the fans who fought through and won? Jose says special teams won the game. We won by 3. Serial, thank you for gifting 10 Corn Craze Army memberships. We appreciate you. I know everyone in the chat loves when those pop in. Serial, you're a big supporter of the show. I can't wait to watch a game with you one day now that we live close to each other. Jim, thank you for the 777. He says, oi, 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 punter and hunter deserve game balls. Season gets off in the right way. Hey, Jim, all that matters is we won. I don't care who gets the game ball. Felt like a bunch of different guys on the team deserved it. Hunter's one of them. Malcolm Hartzog, I don't care. He's game ball. Make sure Malcolm gets the game ball. Hunter was a stud, though. Punter did good. A lot of positivity from different players on the team today. Chance, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, it's not like we had a ton of film on this specific Cincy team to work with. Appreciate the dub and let us continue to grow. GBR, baby. And, you know, that's one of the things. Cincy had a bunch more film on Nebraska than we did on them. Think about all the newness that Cincy has. Think about their quarterback who didn't really play at his best at the end of last season. Nebraska didn't know what to expect out of him. Nebraska didn't know what to expect out of the new receivers they've got. They have like 3 or 4 new receivers. Nebraska obviously was going to run a similar offense to what they did last season with Dana Holgorsen. And yeah, since he knew what we were trying to do. So they ended up playing a good game, and it was what it was. I'm just glad that Nebraska was able to escape. Nick, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says we did it. We won a close game. Also, we have a good wide receiver room, GBR all season. I would argue it's better than good, Nick. This is the best wide receiver room that we've seen at Nebraska in some time. I'm extremely excited about how they're going to play. Let's see. Logan says, would people be more upset at 0-1? Get out of here, fair weathers. Jose says, we won. Yeah, I mean, like I like that you guys are being optimistic. Splurge says, I-25 is going to be full for the next 4 hours. Yeah, I bet it is. You know, it's a lot of people trying to go home from a special day. Rod, thank you for the 20 Corn Craze gifted memberships. I appreciate the support. Can't wait to see you in a few weeks when I come out there. Dave, thank you for being a Corn Craze member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, parking lot is moving like a sloth in molasses. How'd the crowd noise sound on TV? We barely sat all game. Crowd noise sounded good, especially at times, right? Like you had a go big red chant, and then you saw Dylan come out, shush everybody because he's trying to get the offense out on the field, make sure they're led properly without having too much distraction. Crowd was in it. Crowd felt good. And when you saw them on TV, they were engaged, right? People were standing up the whole time. I loved it. I like seeing Nebraska fans have fun. I like seeing Nebraska fans dominate a crowd, especially on a road experience like today was. So that was cool to see. And you know what's crazy? I saw 4 different people that I've met at Nebraska games on TV today, like guys who I've actually talked to, not just like casually seen, like guys I've had conversations with. So yeah. A lot of Corn Craze people up at that game. It was cool. Serial, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $10 super chat. He says a win is a win is a win. Now we get to relax watching other teams play this weekend while we sit back 1-0 GBR. Okay, so look, 100% agree with you. I'm watching all the games this weekend. Guys, today or this year's sponsor is BroThrow. So you guys go to brothrow.com/corn. If you go there, you're going to get a $10 free bet. The beauty in BroThrow, which I've told you about before, is it's even odds bets. There are only 2 states you can't play in. I think it's Colorado and Kansas. So if you sign up at brothrow.com/corn, it's free. They're going to give you $10 in free play. You can bet spreads, money lines, and totals, over and unders on all these college games, NFL, whatever you like to play on. Like I said, it's available in all these states. So not a sports book, and you're not paying a vig to play. So bet $20, win $20, bet 10, win 10, as opposed to bet 20, win 19 or whatever they would pay you. They take 10% for the vig. So BroThrow's our sponsor. That was a great time, Serial, for you to mention that, because I want to make sure people take advantage of that offer. It's a $10 free bet, and it's a way for you to play and save money, or really make more money on your wins. Joe says it's not the win we wanted, but it's the win we needed. Corn Craze legend. Yeah. Wait, who said that quote again? Was it Jonathan? I can't remember who said it, but that was a legendary quote. Let's see. Ryu, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. The defensive tackle, Dante Corleone, manhandled our O-line. My God. I didn't talk about him at all this week, like in my preview. And I didn't really want to talk about him because I heard so many other people doing so. But he deserved all the credit. He deserved all the hype. That dude was a monster. He looked like a beast. And then he fought through multiple times and really created opportunity for the other guys around him. The Cincinnati defense looked special at times. And they did a really good job getting to Dylan and making it a little bit tough for him to get the ball downfield. Logan, thank you for the $5 super chat. People are upset we beat a Power 4 team who beat ASU last year. Hey, Logan. I'm on board with you. But they beat a Jeff Sims-led ASU. I want to make sure we drop the asterisk on there. They were in Big 12 contention while Minnesota, Rutgers, and Wisconsin struggled versus a MAC opponent. That's a fact, Logan. All these teams could barely beat MAC opponents. Yeah, who was it? Rutgers won by 3 over Ohio at home. Wisconsin, I don't know what happened, but I know they were struggling at some point, like up 3-0 at half against Miami, Ohio. Minnesota barely squeezed one out. They won by 13 over Buffalo. I bet on Buffalo, by the way, plus 17.5. Thank God they were able to cover that. Let's see here. Dre, thank you for the $10 super chat. We play 5 to 6 more QBs that can run or create with their legs. I know it's first game, but I left not feeling great about this team. D-line got pushed around. Hartzog is a dog, though. Yeah, shout out to Hartzog again. I'll shout him out all night. Dude won the game for this team. So look, 5 or 6 more QBs that can run. I don't know that we're going to see a running QB like Brendan Sorsby. Jaden Mayava at USC is a pretty good runner. Who else? I mean, the quarterback for Iowa apparently now can run. I'm just going through in my head. Oh, Bryce Underwood can run. There's a few. You're right. I don't know if it's 5 or 6, but it's definitely maybe 3 or 4. I think Nebraska is going to have a different test when they play guys like that, because those guys can actually throw, and they're not going to be as strong or as focused of runners as Sorsby was. Sorsby was so limited today with his arm that he had to run it, right? He couldn't get anything done through the air. So, look, I'm not going to look forward too much. I'm not going to look into, week 4, week 6, week 9. I'm just going to look towards next week and see what Nebraska can do against the next quarterback they faced. The next quarterback is at Akron. He's a stud. Ben Finley, I believe his name is. I don't think he's dual threat. He was a Power 4 quarterback who transferred down. We'll have to see how it goes against him. But again, it's week to week. I don't get too worked up thinking that, man, they struggled against this one today means they're going to struggle against all of them. No, they'll have a game plan. They're going to figure some things out, hopefully. Go Big Red, David May. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, happy to have you back, Connor. This is the first game. Dylan completed 78%, and Johnson had over 100 yards. Defense needs to tighten up with more possession. The offense would have had more points. Hey, the offense would have had more points with one less false start, right, David? One less false start. We're talking about a 24-17 victory. If Nebraska could have got it going, completed one more pass, they probably would have had another 3 points on the board. Dylan today really impressed me. He was 7 of 9 for 50 yards on third down. That's an improvement. Look at the quarterbacks of the past and look at the Nebraska offenses of the past, and then look at their conversion rates. Dylan, 7 of 9 on third down. That's really freaking good for a QB. That's how he completed so many passes. That's why his percentage was so high. Yeah, respect to Dylan, man. He is a stud. Scrolling back through chat. Let me make sure I don't miss anything. Give me 1 minute, guys. Hey, again, I really appreciate you all being here. I much appreciate the conversation after a game and getting to, debrief with you, not just going and sitting on my couch by myself or going to sleep. I like to chill and talk about things. And you guys are all my closest Nebraska fan friends. James, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you for being a member. I'm very happy we got the win, Connor, but this game does not prove we can win by one score. If we win by a score with Michigan and Michigan State, then you'll convince me, change my mind, GBR. Look, brother, this is still a Power 4 team. This is a team who is equivalent in talent to a school like Michigan State. I know they're not labeled Big Ten, but this was a Big Ten quarterback. Brendan Sorsby was on the Indiana roster in 22-23, the starting quarterback last year at Cincinnati and the starting quarterback at Cincinnati again. A Cincinnati team who just played in the playoff, 4 years ago? This was not a joke team. I know people like to disrespect them, but this team is Big Ten equivalent. Maryland, Northwestern, Rutgers, those are all teams who would struggle with Cincinnati. Cincinnati would have beaten multiple teams in the Big Ten if they would have played the way they did today. Bottom line, as much as we make jokes about, digs at, and all that with Cincinnati and the Big 12, this is a legitimate team. They beat a team who they're going to face later in the season. A similar style team they're going to face later in the season. Promise you, brother. Minnesota would have struggled with this Cincinnati team today. Promise you. Adam, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate the support. Why did we not go to QB Spy? I don't know if they may have gone to QB Spy and we just didn't recognize who was spying the QB. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe a guy was out of position. Maybe they were trying to blitz and bring pressure from a different side instead of spy. I'm not a defensive coordinator, and I don't know what the rules are for the linebacker, the rover, whoever else they have trying to key in on him. But I do know that they're going to take the tape. They're going to figure out what worked, what didn't. And I bet you if they weren't using a spy today, they're going to use a spy in the next game. I don't know the answer to your question, though. We'd have to ask John Butler, which he may very well have been asked that question, or Matt Rule may have been asked that question in the post-game press conference that I have yet to watch, which I will after we get out of here. Is the one, thank you for the $5 super chat. Our ranked scheduled opponents have to play good teams before playing us. Our schedule is in our favor, GBR. Hey, that's the type of optimism I'm talking about. Look, Nebraska's got tough teams ahead of them too. So not as tough as like a Michigan, not as tough as a USC, not as tough as a Penn State, but they still got some tough teams ahead of them on the schedule. We'll see how it goes, but I do agree with you. Schedule is in our favor, and that didn't change after tonight. Max, thank you for the $20 super chat. I appreciate the support. He says, happy we have the next 2 weeks to tune up before Michigan. All that matters now, though, is that we won the day. Gotta take a breath for you, Max. 45 minutes ago, I did not think we would be saying that at the end of this show or during this show at all. So I feel good to say and report Nebraska won today. I don't care what the score was. I don't need to tell you what it was. I don't need to tell you the fashion it took to get there. I just have to tell you Nebraska's riding home on the bus with a win. Thank you. That's all that matters. Brad, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, can cater the Friday before Michigan. Much better than being a woozy cat from K-State. Find a way to win. Spreads are great, but bubs are what matters. GBR. Did you mean dubs? I'm looking at the B and the D on the keyboard. They're a little bit far away. We'll call it a bub for you, Brad. Yeah, we might have to link up at Kincaid on the Friday before Michigan, though. I might meet you there. Let's see. Jason says Sierra did good. Don't even know if they had a completion against him. I did not see one. Look, Sierra got people had some questions about Sierra and where he was tonight. He was so locked down that we never even saw him. They didn't throw to his side. They couldn't. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with Sierra's performance. The entire secondary I liked. Austin says, did I see the UCF game? I did not. I'm going to go back and look at that in a little bit. UCF looked like shit when I was checking the box score, though. They were playing against Gavin Wimsatt, their former Kentucky and former Rutgers quarterback. So that's a tough one to face as Scott Frost taking over a new program after not coaching for a couple of years. Austin, thank you for the $5 super chat. GBR, a dub is a dub. Nervous about Michigan, but going to enjoy this one. Hey, I'm going to enjoy it with you, brother. Thank God that Nebraska got the dub. It's all that matters. Vadzet, thank you for the $5 super chat. Swiss Cheese D. Brother, they held this quarterback to 69 yards passing. Look, they have a really good run game, a three-headed monster. Brendan Sorsby, Tawi Walker, Evan Pryor. Okay, Evan Pryor came from Ohio State, former high recruit. Tawi Walker came from Oklahoma and Wisconsin, high recruit. Brendan Sorsby, clearly his strength is running the ball. They just put everything into running the ball. When you go one-dimensional, you're going to be successful at times. So no, it wasn't Swiss Cheese D. It was the only thing that worked. Nebraska was able to make them one-dimensional. Shout out to Nebraska making that team one-dimensional. Shout out to Nebraska making them so one-dimensional that the one time they throw the ball to win, they end up losing. Sorry. One-dimensional offense didn't win the game. That's all I'm saying. No Swiss cheese here. Noah, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate the $2. He says, mission was to get the dub. Mission accomplished. Hey, keep it short and sweet. I like that, brother. Smoking Cactus, thank you for the $2. Hope Bonner is okay. Should have been a penalty. Man, they went straight at his freaking knee. I hate seeing the injuries. And it felt like early on in the game, they were targeting Nebraska players. They were leaning on them a little bit more. They were dropping their shoulder on them. They were rubbing their elbows in. They were doing whatever they could to make sure these Nebraska guys felt it. Almost like, yeah, we're going to make sure there is no talent mismatch. We're going to make sure that their best guys go out. That pissed me off early on. Not sure if you guys felt that same energy. Logan, thank you for the $10 super chat. Pass defense was excellent, as expected. Only worry was how D-line was getting off blocks and how the linebackers flowed in the run game. Also, MWT was on a milk carton. Hope to see some improvement out of him. Not sure what happened with him. He's a black shirt, so hopefully he improves. But, you know, first game for him. First game in the Big Ten. Again, it's early. The run game for Cincinnati didn't make the linebackers look great, didn't make the D-line look great, but first game. We'll call it jitters. We're going to see how it goes in the future. Scott, thanks for being a member. He says, good job, UCF, squeaking out a win versus Jacksonville State as a 20.5-point favorite. Well played. Hey, shout out Scott Frost getting his first win in the Big 12. Hey, Vadzet, thank you for the $2 super chat. I appreciate the support. Let me see. Chat reloaded on me. I got to scroll, guys. One sec. Scott's Tots, thank you for the $5. Cincy lost this game. Hey, that's fine. Nebraska didn't. That's all that matters. A dub is a dub. They had chance after chance to win, and they blew it. So did Nebraska. Finally, Nebraska got lucky with the breaks going their way for a change. I wouldn't call the end lucky. I'm just going to be real with you. Since he had a good play call at the end, one-on-one coverage with our short DB, a guy who's been a liability, some may say, in the past, and they should have had the advantage in that situation. Nebraska secured it. So I don't think that's luck. I think Nebraska came through and they just made a really good play. That's the way I look at it. Kyle, thanks for being a member. He says Winery played or looked pretty good at times. Desan will be a beast this year. I think they both looked really good. Winery came straight at the QB one time, and I was like, thank God he's back in there. Desan was a stud too. Super tall. I think he had that one batted ball inside the 25-yard line. Yeah. Stud. Desan's awesome. Jacob, thank you for the $10 super chat. Nebraska hasn't made a play to win the game on the line, with the game on the line since Oregon in 2016. It's crazy. That was 9 years ago. And I remember it so clear like it was yesterday. I don't care about the defense. When they needed to make a play to win the game on the line, make a play with the game on the line, they made a play. I'm on the same page as you, Jacob. Appreciate you. Kyle also mentions Donovan Jones looking pretty solid. Pleasantly surprised. Yes, he was a stud too. Nebraska's got some defensive players. I'll tell you what, they got a few of them. Like half the D showed up today and played at like a really high Big Ten level, I think. Half. Vadzet, thank you for the $10 super chat. Swiss cheese D, have to make a rule preventing coaches from taking half the roster with them. So if Nebraska wouldn't have lost James Williams and Jamari Butler, and who else? Stephon Thompson, do you think the defense wouldn't have been Swiss cheese D? Because that's what you're implying right here. I just don't know if I can get behind that. James Williams, Jamari Butler, and Stephon Thompson. That's the difference between Swiss cheese D and not. That's it. I didn't say it. I'm just trying to interpret your words. I appreciate the super chat. Joshua, thank you for the $5. Thanks for being a member. Cincinnati's a better team than we were thinking. Correct. 7-9 wins. Correct. They could win 9 games for sure. They may have ran on us, but we shut down the passing attack. We made them one-dimensional. GBFR. Let's rock, bro. It's so true. Jacob, thank you for the $10 super chat. If you feel bad about Nebraska giving up 17 to Cincy, just know that Rutgers got absolutely sliced and diced by Ohio. Not Ohio State, Ohio. Hey, perspective is always a good thing, Jacob. I appreciate you bringing some perspective into this chat. Let me see here. There were a couple surprises for me, you know. The receiving core was a surprise. I think Isaiah Mosey playing as much as he did was a surprise. Mekhi Nelson had a carry. He got stopped behind the line, but they took their shot. Isaiah Mosey had, I think, 2. He had 1 carry, but he had a catch too, right? I feel like he touched it twice, yeah. So Mosey had 2. What did you guys think? Did you guys like Mosey? Did you like Mekhi Nelson? It's really hard to tell after those 3 plays if either of those guys are even comparable to Emmett Johnson. Emmett is so far ahead of the rest of the room. It was just like, God, you can't take him out. And there were times in the game where I was like, they need to rotate because Emmett had how many touches? 25 plus 7. Emmett had 32 touches for 100 and 27 and 8. What's that? 35? 135 yards? My God, Emmett's not the biggest back. No disrespect to Emmett, but he's not meant to play every single down. He's not going to sustain throughout the course of an entire season. I know this because there was another back, similar build, named Anthony Grant. And as we saw him get deeper into the season, I believe it was 2021, started super hot, was playing a bunch. I remember that North Dakota game at home was electric. But as we got deeper down, he was wearing out because he's a smaller guy. I'm just thinking, is there a path where Emmett doesn't have to touch the ball 32 times a game? Now, if he can sustain, and he's like a Travis Hunter with that kind of durability and that endurance, more power to him. I would love to see it. But long term, we're going to have to figure out what that running back room looks like. Receiver room is so clear. I mean, Lindenmeyer is tight end 1, and it wasn't even close. You had Heinrich Harburg in there, and you hope that he can come through and be an effective pass catcher and be successful. But Lindenmeyer did what he had to do. Had good balance, good footwork. He was catching the ball. I mean, did he have any drops? I don't believe so. He had 5 catches for 47 yards. He had that 1 for 19 where he was able to stay in bounds. So tight end, we know. Lindenmeyer's a sure thing, and he's a balanced guy. He can block as well. Then you had Ja'Cory Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter, all with 5, 6, and 6 catches. I mean, it's a thing of beauty. Cortez Mills, true freshman, guy we expect to play, came in, had his first catch, slipped, just dropped down, but it didn't matter. It was a first down catch. So I feel really good about what Dylan's got back there with him at receiver. 33 of 42 for 243 yards. My God, that's what we need. We need a quarterback who can put up 240 a game. A quarterback who doesn't throw picks, doesn't turn it over. That was the difference between today and the past years. Nebraska lost games like this in the past because they had turnovers. So what's the turnover split tonight? 0 interceptions to 1 interception. They didn't lose any fumbles. Nebraska didn't lose any fumbles. So it was just the 1 interception. That was the difference between the game. I mean, I didn't need to give you that whole breakdown for you to know that. You already knew. But my point in saying it is that that's what's been the liability for Nebraska in the past. They couldn't get out of their own way with the interceptions and the turnovers, and they finally did. Logan, thank you for the $5 super chat. If Emmett has that many touches through September, he won't make it to November. Got to find a number 2. That's what the question is, right? Who the hell is going to be that number 2? I like Isaiah Mosey as the number 2, right? He's got a lot of upside. He's fast, but Mekhi Nelson has it too. We've heard from practice. So who's going to step up? They're both young. They don't have very much experience. The other one that we've talked about is Quentin Ives, who looks pretty freaking big. He's been a little banged up, so maybe he'll come back in, but Yeah, what's that going to look like? Nebraska wants to run the ball downhill. They want to lean on their offensive line. And at times I felt like, no, not at times, in the second quarter, like with 10 minutes left in the second quarter, it was pretty early in the game. Nebraska was running downhill straight into the teeth of that defensive line and dominating. They were getting a fantastic push. So if the O-line is going to be able to keep that consistent, and they're going up against one of the best defensive tackles they're going to face all season, probably the best defensive tackle they're going to face all season, are they going to be able to do that against Michigan? Are they going to be able to do that against USC, against Minnesota, against some of the bigger Big Ten teams they have to play against, right? If they can, it doesn't matter who the running back's going to be. They're still going to be able to pick up yards. Right now, Emmett was the one who forced his way through for 8, 9, 10 yards, right? But Mekhi Nelson could have gotten 6, 7 if he had that kind of push from an O-line. It's interesting to see. But yes, who the hell is the number 2? We did not find that out today, I'll tell you that. Matt B says, is Nelson just not ready? I don't know that he's not ready. It's just when you have a hot hand like Emmett Johnson and you're in a close game like you were today, you can't not give him the touches. Emmett is an explosive back. He obviously has hands, although he did have one drop, but he's the receiver they need, and he's reliable. They can trust him. He's done it before. And because he came on the scene so hot with Dana last year, Dana wants to keep him in the game as much as he possibly can. So you got to rock with who you can trust. And right now you can trust him more than anybody else. I don't think it's I don't trust this other guy enough. It's just, I trust this one too much. Husker Talk, thank you for the $2 super chat. Our last Power 5 opener win was 2003 versus Oklahoma State. Is that true? That's insane. 22 years ago? I was 10 years old. My God. Thank you for that bit of knowledge, Husker Talk. I appreciate it. I didn't know that. Trev, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thoughts on Vince Shaver's forced fumble? My God. So Vincent Shavers didn't get a black shirt, I think because he was injured, right? And he finally got one, what was it, yesterday or the day before? Shavers was expected to be the starting linebacker this year. When the depth chart came out, we were all like, oh, he's behind. Same with Willis McGahee. There were some young guys who weren't the opening name on the front. And it was like, oh, wow. Wonder if they're going to show up. The first game is when they're going to have an opportunity too. And when it mattered a ton, I believe the following drive after he, or that drive, yeah, right after he forced that fumble and Nebraska recovered it, they scored the touchdown with an Isaiah Hunter, right? So that was a game-changing forced fumble. And you need players like that who can flip the field, who can literally take the ball from the opponent, give it to Dylan Raiola, and let them get in the end zone. Nebraska needs points whenever they can get them. The guy last year who was a freak and who was able to create takeaways, force fumbles, strip sacks, interceptions was Sierra Wright. Vincent Shavers has it in him 100%. So is he going to be the one who's the playmaker, the guy who's not just the one who makes tackles and is the sound, technically linebacker? Is he the guy who can rush the QB and create something out of nothing? Hopefully. Tonight was a very positive sign that could be him. Ryu, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He said Cincinnati did lose a fumble in the second. Okay, they did. It was Caleb. Yeah, it was Caleb Goody on the one we just talked about. So it was two turnovers for Cincinnati. Going back to when I was talking about they only had one turnover. I forgot about it. Jacob, thank you for being a member of the Corn Craze Army. I appreciate you. Some people are telling John to stop being negative. I haven't even read a negative comment from John, so I don't know what he's saying. But yeah, man, you got to be optimistic in this scenario. Nebraska had a good day. There were two ways that this conversation could have gone. It could have been Nebraska didn't take advantage of their opportunities, and because they didn't, they lost the game. Or you can say they made plays where they had to make them, and they made their tackles at the end. They had their interception at the end, and they kept the game in front of them and found a way. I can say all kinds of negative about today. And I can nitpick and I can complain and I can say, here are all of I literally have a note sheet, right? A note sheet of everything that pissed me off. I'm sure you do too. And we're going to hear all about it. Don't worry. This week, they're going to dissect it. You're going to hear all the podcasts. You're going to hear the YouTube shows, whoever, talk about all the negative to it. But I choose in a moment on a Thursday night when I'm with all my friends talking about something that we rarely get to talk about, which is a Nebraska victory, to overlook all of those minor details that don't matter. All of those minor details that may or may not come back up in future games. And I sit here and I appreciate what we got, which was the win. Timothy, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, thank you for the content from Houston, Texas. Love Houston, Texas. I like partying out there. There's a lot of fun people. He says, watching your videos make me feel like I'm back home in Nebraska. Go Big Red. Well, I'm glad, brother, because when I come on here and talk with all you guys, it makes me feel like I'm in Nebraska. It was a good day. Haters gonna hate. Come on. No haters in here. Special teams in terms of effort and efficiency was way better. That's a fact. Think about that. Special teams in the past has been something that really bites us and something that doesn't allow Nebraska to get out of their own way with. They find ways to shoot themselves in the foot because they kick balls out of bounds. I think they did kick one ball out of bounds today, but they have shanked punts. They have muffed ones. They let guys get big returns on them at inopportune times. I mean, we see all kinds of nonsense. Today, we didn't see that. So let's see. Splurge says, can you take a look at time of possession? Let's see, Splurge. Yeah, I got you. You go over here to team stats. First downs. Nebraska had 23. Cincinnati had 16. Third down efficiency. Nebraska was 10 of 18, a little bit better than 50%. Cincinnati, on the other hand, 3 of 10, 30%. Those are game-deciding numbers. Total yards, Nebraska outdid them by 80. Passing, Nebraska dominated. Nebraska had 5.8 yards per pass. Does seem low. Someone brought that up in the chat earlier on today. They were saying that they felt like Dylan was throwing short balls, which, he was being conservative, but it worked. Let your playmakers get the ball and let them make plays downfield. And they were doing it. Nebraska's got some fast, elusive guys who can do that, which is fantastic. Nebraska only had 3.1 yards per rush. Seems pretty low, but Emmett did pretty well. Possession, Nebraska doubled. Wow. Thank you for making me bring this up, brother. Nebraska controlled the time of clock by 2x, 39 minutes and 30 seconds to 20 minutes and 30 seconds. I will tell you this about time of possession. At the end of the game, I thought they managed the clock well, but not perfectly. I thought they could have run the clock more. Like if I was playing college football 25, I would have just burned the clock. If I'm Dylan, I would have just sat there, crossed my arms, let that shit bleed to 2. We knew we were going to throw it or we knew we were going to run it. It didn't matter. They were completing it and that clock was just going to keep burning. Nebraska obviously ended up in a position where they had to punt it at the end there. And, or no, did they punt it? Did they go for it at the end? I can't even remember. I got to go back to the play-by-play. I've been talking so much shit now. I don't even remember how the game finished. Give me 1 second. Nebraska punted. That's what it was. So they punted with 5 minutes left. They probably could have punted with like 3:40 left if they would have burned more clock, if we're being realistic. So clock management at the end was interesting, but whatever, was what it was. They did what they had to do. Jacob, thanks for being a member. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Dylan looked completely comfortable the entire game. It's so crazy you say that because in the beginning of this chat, someone opened with Dylan didn't look comfortable. I was like, what? Okay. I thought he looked okay. I was almost nervous that he looked almost too comfy since he played shell the entire game and DR completely picked them apart from 5 to 15 yards. And it worked. It freaking worked. Dylan had one solid run for 9 yards. I felt great about Dylan today, man. All the hype that he gets and all the pressure that's on his shoulders, I'm glad that today he was rewarded, right? He had a really good game. He didn't screw it up. He didn't throw it away, and he was rewarded for that. There were other guys on the team, who probably could have played a little bit better. And there were other guys on the offense who had some mistakes that cost Nebraska some points. But the fact that he was able to get a dub after his really solid performance, I think that's going to give him some confidence and make Nebraska a better team going forward. So, guys, I appreciate you all being here. I know there's 850 people on, but we've been here for a while. And it's been an hour and a half. Are you kidding me? We've been talking for a minute or an hour? Saray, thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you for being a member. She says, hope Bonner's knee wasn't too bad. He's been through a lot. Yeah, I hope so too. He's a single digit. He's a stud. He's a leader on this team. He's been here for a long time. Another guy who you want to see get those wins because he's been here through thick and thin. He's a Frost recruit. He's been here through the entire Matt Rule process. So he's been, one of the key pillar guys clearly since he got that single digit. So yeah, hopefully things work out for Bonner and he's not too banged up. Sucked to see him get carried off the way he did though. That's a crazy one. The White Whale says if Emmett stays healthy, he could be all Big Ten. if you're averaging 130 yards a game as a running back, 100% you're in that conversation. And you wouldn't have thought that about him a couple of years ago. I never thought Emmett was going to be a guy who was going to transfer, but I didn't know that he could be the every down back, right? I didn't know that he could be the guy who led the entire room. I thought he was going to be more of a third down dude. And for him to show up in the last, 6 games he's played in and have just a string of 100+ yard games, he's going to be dangerous. So yeah, Emmett, all Big Ten, 1,000%. That is in the cards for him, and I really hope he can accomplish it. Emmett's a super good dude. DJ says, dude, Dylan's really good. People don't understand when defenses play 2-3 high. Throwing deep is like chucking a 40-footer in basketball. That's when running the ball is such a huge asset. Exactly. That Cincinnati guys were in position. They weren't going to allow Dylan to throw it all over them. And most teams won't. You're going to see Dylan struggle, and he's going to have to find and pick his spots because most teams are aware of his capabilities. These DCs are paid millions of dollars because they've seen quarterbacks with his play style multiple times before. They know what Dana Holgorsen likes to do. And they're not going to allow Nebraska to beat them over top. They're going to say, screw it. Beat us underneath if you have to, but we're not going to let you throw it freely through the air and pick us apart. When we know our weakness is our secondary and your strength is your quarterback and receivers, right? Think about that. Matt Miller, Connor, you're the freaking man, and we love being able to sit here and talk Husker football with you, bro. GBR. Matt, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you for being here. It's way more fun when I've got all you here to talk with me about it because I don't want to sit here and talk and just, not have something to talk back to. Like, I like you guys dropping little comments and ideas so I can bounce off of them. Makes it way more entertaining for me. Let's see. Jose says Hartzog had 3 or 4 touchdown plays that no one realizes. Yeah, I have to go back and look. Honestly, that game got away from me. My emotions got the best of me at one point. I don't drink on Thursdays. I'll tell you that. I broke out the Woodford tonight. Second quarter, I was feeling good. Third quarter, not so much. I had to go pour it up. And I was sitting there like, man, what is this night going to finish as? Is this a Thursday night where I go to bed peacefully? Is this a Thursday night where my head's spinning? Because last night, you guys probably have this same feeling. It was about 11 o'clock. My normal bedtime's around midnight, right? It's about 11 o'clock, and I couldn't sleep. My head's just racing because it's the first day of college football today, like officially. Like we had last week, which was in my head, a little teaser. Today was the first real day because we got our team in. And my head's spinning. I'm thinking about all the options, what could happen, what could go wrong. I'm thinking about what players could go off. I'm sitting there on Prize Picks on Bro Throw. I'm making all my bets, just full degen mode at midnight on a Wednesday. I go to bed at, say, 12:30. I wake up at 5 a.m. My normal time to wake up, I wake up between 8 and 9. No, I wake up between 8 and 9. If I go to bed at 12, or I get out of bed at 8 and 9, I guess the better way to say it. I get up at 8. I woke up at 5 today, and I wasn't that feeling you get when you are super tired and you want to go back to sleep and you don't have any thoughts in your head, so you can just crash back out, fall on your pillow and be done. I didn't have that. I was super freaking tired, but my mind was racing and picked up where I left off last night thinking about Nebraska. And that happens every Friday night for me. That's during football season. I can't sleep. And so tonight, I'm glad that I'm going to be able to, I guess is the whole point I was trying to make. So we can take a breath and be happy that we can sleep tonight normally. Jacob, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for being a member. Emmett Johnson could be Burkhead 2.0. Different types of backs, but I see what you're saying. The comparison is weird to me, but at the same time, I understand your position here. He reminds me of him so much. With the way Nebraska recovers, he can maybe get 30 touches a game and be fine. I know I've made a lot of comments. I've even told you just now, I didn't know what Emmett could be. But this is one where I'm like, man, I don't know if I can agree with that. 30 touches a game and be fine? Emmett? He's a smaller dude. I mean, he's 200 pounds, but he's a lean 200. Burkhead was what? 215? Let me see. Rex Burkhead. It's crazy his nickname was Sexy Rexy. That's so weird. I don't know why I thought of his nickname in my head just now. So Rex is 5'10". And his NFL playing weight was what? 215? Yeah. 215, which is probably 205, 210. At Nebraska, he was probably 190. I guess he is really similar to Emmett. He just seemed bigger. Maybe it was because Rex felt more like a bowling ball and Rex felt more durable, whereas Emmett feels quicker, shiftier, faster, right? No disrespect to Emmett, obviously, just a different style player in my head when I think about him. But you're probably right. That comparison, I think, is pretty accurate. Interesting. That'll give me more to think about. Let me see. Ryu says EJ reminds him of Amir Abdullah. I don't know about that one. I see more Rex Burkhead than Amir Abdullah. Just reading your guys' chat. I love that you guys are talking back and forth to each other. EJ reminds me of Le'Veon Bell. On that note, you guys are ridiculous. Bo Big Red says, where were any tight ends over the middle? I don't know. I can't nitpick that much and remember what all the offensive plays were off the top of my head. What I do know is I was surprised that there weren't more drag routes for tight ends. I do agree with that, where he was hitting like a Harburg 5 yards over. But I did like the slants and the short posts that they were running to the receivers, like Dane Key. Cortez Mills was on a slant, I think. Who else? Isaiah Hunter, it felt like he was going on outside routes more often. I don't know. Again, I got to rewatch this game. I was pretty freaking amped up the entire way through, stressed out, thinking about some other things. But, I'm just glad the offense made it work. I think that's the bottom line. Tight end played awesome. Olivia, what's up? Lindemeyer had a good game. What happened to the fullbacks, Matt? The fullbacks are debunked over here. Nebraska's got a little bit more of a spread offense. We're rocking the Dana Holgerson energy now. Not any fullback stuff. Come on. We learned over the last couple of years, the fullback was not necessary. We needed more receivers. We needed more weapons. Are you going to be at the USC game? I'm so hyped for the blackout. Fuck yes, brother. I'm going to be at the USC game. I'll be at USC. I'll be at Michigan. I think I'm going to be at UCLA. Yes. Jose says they were abusing Ja'Cory Barney. Hell yeah, they were. They were taking shots I feel like they were taking shots at everybody they could, but especially him. Especially Ja'Cory. They knew if you can get your best guys hurt, it's going to give Cincinnati a lot better of chance. That's what their thought was. But guys, on that note, I'm going to go get ready for bed because it's already 10:40 my time. I still got to do some work tomorrow. I've got some planning for all my bets tomorrow. So we got Georgia Tech, Colorado. We got Baylor, Auburn. Again, go to brothrow.com/corn and get your $10 free bet. That's a fantastic website to play on if you'd like to bet on college football or NFL. They're going to give you $10 free, so take advantage. And it's even money payouts. So on sportsbooks, $10 bet only wins you 9. On BroThrow, a $10 bet wins you 10. So a $100 bet wins you 100 instead of 90. Anyway, just go check it out for yourself. BroThrow's the place I bet every week. But I hope you guys enjoy this weekend. And Mitri says, I know none of those slips hit, bro. I got plenty of slips that hit tonight. Plenty. Go check my Discord. I'm going to drop all my winners tonight in Discord. I got a lot of them. Starting with Buffalo, starting with UCF, then go to Prize Picks. We're hitting, trust me. I had some winners today. Probably ended up a little bit around even after my Nebraska loss on the -6.5, but everything else, we were up today. Okay. Jack says, Connor, I'm fading all your slips. Brutal track record. Brother, I'm literally about to show you a ton of wins. My only losses are my Nebraska losses. Nebraska's been beating my ass. But, yeah, you guys are crazy. You guys are crazy thinking that I've got a bunch of losing slips. I'm going to drop them in Discord just to flex on you guys now. I'm going to drop a bunch of them. Just bang, 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 bang. Watch. Okay. Again, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate the support. I'm glad we can all talk about this together. I hope you have a great time watching the games this weekend. There are a ton on. We got Friday football, Saturday football, Sunday football, Monday football, I think. But yeah. So have a good night. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next one. Go Big Red.